Alright, so today we're going to be talking about digital media or digital ministry and how that might influence like celebrity Christians, as we'll call them. And just so we can be on the same terms real quick, a celebrity Christian is someone who claims that they are a follower of Christ and is also famous online for whatever reason. Sometimes it might be a pastor who posts himself online, some of his sermon clips or whatnot, and gets famous that way. Stephen Furtick, Joel Osteen, a few of these guys. Or maybe it's like a worship leader who starts writing songs and publishing them, and he ends up getting famous off of them. Or maybe it's just some guy on YouTube who started a ministry that decided to blow up. I think of a few people that I follow, like Daily Disciples, the Amen podcast, different things like that. Christian, for the sake of this video, Christian celebrities are just people who claim that they're followers of Christ. They make Christian content, but they have a large following on social media. So, in class a while back, we talked about kind of Christian celebrities and whether that was kind of a good thing or a bad thing, and what that might actually mean or look like. So I kind of want to talk about the pros and then the cons, and then kind of what our response as the church could or maybe should be. So, first, the pros of this Christian celebrity culture is probably some pretty obvious stuff. Like, it advances the message of the gospel for the most part. It gets the word out to more people. A lot of people are on social media, and a lot of people are going to see this content being posted by pastors or celebrity Christians or whatnot, and they're going to see this and have an opportunity to hear the message of the gospel when otherwise they might not have had that opportunity. So that's obviously a pretty big plus. And also just the spreading of like positive messages, rather than some of the other junk that we see on social media nowadays. Another positive, I guess, could be just that you get people more curious. It raises questions about the faith and about, what is this all about. You get people who might not have stepped foot into a church ever, but they feel comfortable enough to watch an online church service, and so as a result, now they're a little bit more curious than maybe they would have been before, and now they're asking questions like, who is Jesus? Like, what is this all about? What is this whole Christian thing about? Which is obviously a positive because it gets people searching for answers, and I believe, biblically speaking, when they search, they will find. So the negative of this, on the flip side, is when the celebrity Christians take the fame and the influence that they have into their own hands, and it becomes more about them rather than about promoting the gospel. It becomes problematic when their motivation is based on their own following and their own population rather than Jesus and, getting more people to him. So this is problematic because the more your motivation is twisted, then the more, how do I say that? If your motivation is twisted, then your message is going to also start to be twisted. And this is where we see things like people calling out people for being false prophets or wolves in sheep clothing. And while some of this is illegitimate and just online Christian drama, this is a real concern to an extent that there are people, as the Bible warns us about, I believe in Matthew, don't quote me on that, that there are wolves in sheep clothing. There are people who look harmless on the outside, who look great, they look pretty, maybe they look spotless, they sound great, their music's good, their messages are positive, whatnot, but when you actually dig into what they're saying and what they actually mean and what they want and their motivation behind it, they're actually really dangerous. They're a wolf, and it's something that we should be staying away from and be aware of, because fame to anybody can do some messed up stuff. And when a Christian who's not maybe strong in their faith, or maybe even a Christian who is strong in their faith, this can be something that takes them down, and God forbid they have a secret sin in their life that they're struggling with or something. I'm forgetting the name, but it's the pastor from Hillsong, who a few years back was found out for a sex scandal, and he was in an affair, and that blew up, and basically the church kind of fell off from there, and he had disappeared for many years, and he came back recently. Carl Lentz is the guy. He came back recently with an amazing redemption story of how Jesus had worked through that and had brought him and his family to healing and forgiveness, and how they are working through that now. And so I would highly recommend, go check out, it's the Carl Lentz podcast. I think it's called Lights On with Carl Lentz or something. It's a great podcast. It's a great redemptive story. But that becomes an issue when someone has such a huge following, and then all of a sudden something happens, and now you hear stories of people like with Carl Lentz and with others who are turned away from the faith, who are turned off to the things of God because of something that a Christian celebrity did, where they messed up. And so that's one of the biggest negatives when it comes to Christian celebrities, is when the motivation comes wrong, or there's something that is undealt with in their personal life that happens. So, that being said, I want to kind of just transition into what should our response be as a church, and this is a question I want to ask, which is, who are we making famous? Who are we giving a platform and a pedestal to? When we're consuming content online, there's a lot of times where I've even caught myself, listening to someone or listening to a song, and it sounds great. The message is good for the most part. And maybe there's nothing even inherently wrong with that song or that message in specific, but I know the person behind it is not necessarily someone that I would want to endorse or want to give a pedestal to. And so I think as a church as a whole, we need to think about, who are we giving power to, who are we giving authority to speak into our lives, not only for our personal and spiritual development, but also just for the representation of a church. If we put the wrong people on a pedestal, then the world is going to look at that and say, well, see, this is one of the main representations of the church, and look at all the messed up stuff that happened there. I know, just to throw, I'm really name dropping here, but Dante Bowe also came out with some questionable things that had happened, and he's one of the biggest Christian music artists out there, working with Mav City and Elevation and all that. And it was just hard when a lot of people heard about this, because the culture that was built up around that had given him a pedestal and a position of kind of authority in a way to speak over someone's life through his music. And then when things came out, a lot of people pointed at him and said, hey, look, like, this is what Christians are. This is how Christians act, and it's just simply not true all the time. And so we got to be very careful who we give fame and power and influence to, because ultimately at the end of the day, like, we as a church have a say in who we put up as our main representations. This might be a bad analogy, definitely probably not biblical, but do we want to put a David up there who is strong, who is a man after God's own heart, who for the majority of the time he might mess up, but he does have strong and pure motives? Or do we want to put a Goliath up there, someone who mocks God behind closed doors? Maybe not even outright, maybe it's just with what they do. So I would challenge us to think about that. Whatever Christian content you're consuming, whatever music you're listening to, or podcasts or sermons, be sure to not give too much influence to someone who might not be the best influence on others when it comes to the faith and everything. So that's it for today. Thanks for listening and paying attention. If you have any thoughts, just let me know. And yeah, see you guys.